I want your opinion on this.
Yeah.
How bad is it really? I think this is multi-pronged. How bad is the Bears offense really? What is the root cause of why it's so bad? And can this get better?
Whew. Like most bad offenses, it starts with the line. I think that is then and there where you just start with everything. And I think other than all the there's a lot of things. So I'm trying to rank them in my brain.
There's a ton of things, and that's why this is difficult to do.
Yes, the play that stands out to me. Let's all start though. It's like we know this Bears team was not going to be good. This is a full-blown, more or less rebuild team. But the thing is they already have a quarterback that the old regime drafted, so it's a weird situation. But a snapshot of where this bad play is, and I do think that the Bears staff tries to do a lot of the right things, even if sometimes doesn't lead to good results. But was the fourth down that they were about to go for it at the end of the game, and they got the delay game. And that is the center just literally not snapping the ball when Justin Fields is trying to yell to him to snap the ball. And that is like just clapping and yelling. And that is just a snapshot of so many other issues that this team has. They don't have players. Like they really don't. They just do not have guys that they can lean on. That at the end of the game, those are two gameable throws that you can come down with, and it's Mooney has made some nice catches, but that's the difference between having stars like a guy like you watch the Chiefs play and Travis Kelce. I know he's a tight end, comparing him to a receiver, but you watch him come down with balls. He's even a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster coming down with throws that are low and away. It's the room for error is so unbelievably small, and Justin Fields is still learning to be an NFL quarterback. So it's just like it's a lot of bad. It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint what's one thing, but it's a lot of bad play that goes on, especially with the Bears offense.
It's so hard to diagnose like what's actually the root cause of it. And when I'm watching that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to parse the quarterback play from everything else around him. And that's so hard to do.
So hard.
But let's talk about the first drive. Okay, on the first drive, he has that in breaker to the right. I can't remember who was there.
Yep.
And he just refuses to throw it.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, like, you have to throw that ball.
Have to throw that.
And so that play happens. But then there are so many moments in that game. Let's rewind a second. Okay. The first half, they're moving the ball. They had two drives inside the 5. One was a huge run, and that's whatever. But they were moving the ball through the air fairly consistently in the first half of the game. I don't have the numbers on it. True doesn't update that quickly. It was all 7 and 8 man protection. All of it.
Yep.
They had 2 guys out in routes, max protection off play action. It's the only way they could move the ball through the air because it's the only way they can hold up. Anytime they have to try to drop back in semi-traditional ways with 5 or 6 guys in protection, especially tonight, they couldn't do it.
Yep.
So you're looking at it. The left side of the offensive line was unwatchable over the course of this game. I'm including the center as the left side of that offensive line as well. So, okay, let's dig into the left side of the offensive line. This was not supposed to be the starting offensive line, but based on the plan that the Bears had and the players that they added this offseason, Lucas Patrick was supposed to play center. He breaks his hand during training camp. So now you have Sam Mustipher come in and starting to play center. Even when Patrick gets back, now he's a swing guard. Let's call him that. Okay. Cody Whitehair is supposed to be the left guard. He is not playing in this game. Lucas Patrick had a nightmare game today. A nightmare game. Braxton Jones had a really bad game against Montez Sweat. So let's talk about what the left tackle situation looks like. They drafted Braxton Jones in the 5th round. Could you have found a left tackle in free agency, theoretically? Maybe. You could have paid Teron Armstead. He was the one that was theoretically available. Teron Armstead's hurt right now. Teron Armstead is hurt pretty often.
That's his
I understand why you wouldn't want to do something like that. So when you're looking at the pool of available tackles outside of that, you don't love it. They didn't have a first-round pick. They could have drafted Abe Lucas in the 3rd round to play tackle for them. There aren't a lot of ways they could have filled that spot.
It's hard to find tackles.
Okay. This team cut the starting left tackle for the Washington team that got a contract extension this offseason because of how well he played last year. The reason that they cut him is because they traded up in the 2nd round to go get Tevin Jenkins. They're like, you know what? We're good. We're going to save $9 million. A guy that has never missed a game during his entire career as a starter. Charles Leno isn't Joe Thomas, But the team building mistakes and the team building missteps, there's so many different ways and so many different reasons that you've arrived at this moment.
Yeah.
And when you drop a quarterback into those circumstances, this is the result that you see. So I don't know how you start this. Is his internal clock feels broken, but he's also dealing with a muddy, disgusting pocket almost immediately every single time he's supposed to drop back and throw. So he is not playing well. He's playing really, really poorly. But it's almost like he's just short-circuited at this point because of everything else that's happening. So offensive design, personnel around him, and the quarterback's own play, it's coming from all of these different directions. And that's why it's so hard to figure out, how do you solve this? Because you're putting out so many different fires in so many different places.
It's so hard because we just talked about right now, is you emphasize tackle play, but as a quarterback, especially a young quarterback, is when you have poor interior line play against a couple aces that Washington has in Payne and Allen, who are incredible. Payne is playing incredible. Allen is already one of the elite players, but they are playing so well. And how many replays did you see where they're winning instantly? Because now you can't.
Zero time.
So if you have a bad tackle as a quarterback, it's okay. You see Mahomes do it all the time. I'm not calling Orlando Brown bad or Wiley bad, but it's up and out. Justin Fields can't create good habits to step up in the pocket, which I talk about all the time, is that's what you want to see quarterbacks do. You have to lean into the punch. You have to step up into the pocket. He can't even create those habits because it's not there. There's no availability for him to step up and out. That's why he does, and I went on another show talking about this, he does the Madden drop where he keeps fading back. So those sacks become even worse. It's a 14-yard loss. It's a 12-yard loss. It's not a 2-yard loss or a short thing where, he got some guy hawks him down from the back. So you see so many of those. And on top of it, and I get it, what Luke Getsy's trying to do, he's trying to call a lot of high floor plays, a lot of zone runs, a lot of nakeds, a lot of stuff where it hides the offensive line. That's why the drop back stuff is so shit. But this second half in this game, Washington, every time they realized they had an open side, a non-tight end side, and then Fields was doing a bootleg to that side, those DNs were teeing off. It's the old Jim Schwartz wide 9 Detroit Lions that sprinted at the quarterback. And that's why you saw a bootleg is, when you're taught that play as a quarterback, it's supposed to be the safest play. The rule of thumb is get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, either by throwing it away because you're on the move, or just dump it off. It's never supposed to be a sack. And the fact Justin Fields gets pressured on those is astounding, like on half of them. And you could see tonight that it was every time they had an open side where there's no tight end side, those DNs sprinted at Fields. And so that takes away the easy card that this offense has. And then the rest is just, who do you rely on when you want to find a play? It's just, there's so much that just falls apart. Defense did fine. Like Brisker looks great, like all that.
They're
but
fine.
It's just, but just this offensive side of the ball, it's just, they got nothing. They have nothing to lean on. And it's a quarterback that is a big game hunter. Literally that last drive where he had the long scramble, they're going no huddle. So usually when you have a no huddle package of plays, you go like bear 0, bear 1, bear 2. He did bear 0, which I'm going to guess is a quick game kind of concept. He gave a pump signal to Pettis. Justin Fields, in the middle of that, with his offensive line just getting their asses kicked, went for a double move for the win. This guy is a big game hunter, but that's not great because the offensive line sucks so bad and you don't have ball winners down the field. So it's like, it's hard. It's just the worst type of play style with his surroundings right now. And it just kind of compounds itself over a game.
I understand it looks really frustrating. I don't want to throw Luke Getsy under a bus right now, because I feel like what they're trying to do to solve this makes sense to me.
It makes so much sense.
They're trying to maybe I'm rationalizing it. Maybe that's just a misguided way to look at it. No. It does make sense to me. I get how they got to this point, but eventually, if you can't drop back and throw the ball, it's going to be a huge issue. And here's where I'm at, is that you watch, he's an amazing athlete. That last scramble he's an amazing athlete. He's so much better as a runner than I even thought he would be coming into the league, because we didn't see him run that much at Ohio State
at all.
But The fact that that's all he has right now, all he has is his legs. And you see the throw to Pettis for the touchdown. And there, part of me last year when we're doing this and we're trying to hem and haw about this, I'm talking myself into that. I'm talking myself into the mobility. And you're like, he's a rookie. The situation's terrible. Like the internal clock stuff, if that gets better, then you can talk yourself into the highs. The lows are catastrophically bad. Catastrophically bad. I'm not in that place anymore where it's like, oh, look at that throw or look at that scramble. Like what it is down in and down out is horrible right now. And whether or not he was failed or he's the one failing, at a certain point, it ceases to matter. Because if these habits become so bad and so ingrained, there's no getting out of them. And I just don't know if we're at that point yet, or if we get to a place where the interior protection is better. And he just he can work to 1 to 2. He can be just a little bit more, not methodical, but he can just be more comfortable in the pocket. I'll tie it up like this. The Bears fandom thing it's a complicated beast at this stage of things, right? Like I've covered the league for 10 years. You know, I will always have an attachment to it for reasons that are just, I don't know, it goes really deep. Like it's just like how I grew up, and like I think about my dad, and there's like so many elements to it. I think my emotions as they relate to this when I'm watching it is more about disappointment in what I watched of Justin Fields as a college product and what this looks like right now. It's more about the disappointment of watching a quarterback be failed to no fault of his own and having that kind of compound and push on the worst version of himself.
Right.
And that's hard to watch because the kid, he is clearly tough as shit. Yeah. And some of the stuff he can do is incredible.
I know.
But he is in a position that it's really, really hard for him to succeed. And it's some his fault and it's some other people's fault. And we can try to make a pie chart of that if we want to, but who cares? Like at the end of the day, like, it really doesn't matter because this is the final product. And if it goes like this for the next 10 weeks, I don't know what it's going to look like by the end and what you do after it's over.
It's like an archer, little column A, little column B, but this time it's not. It's how it is. And it does stink because that's the thing with Fields. He was not a perfect prospect. There is no perfect prospect, but it is those blemishes that you have. Hey, holds onto the ball too long, bounces too much. His timing could be a little slow on things. It's tough when you see a situation. It's like he can't get better because it's just the situation, even if he tried to be better. And that's the thing.
He clearly he wants to be better so badly.
Wants to. And it's so frustrating. That's like you said, he was not a scrambler in college. He would do it once in a while, and you'd be like, holy crap, look at this guy move. And the fact that he's probably, I think he has one of the highest, it's like him and Hurts and Allen have the highest scrambling rates. That's one of the reasons I love Fields I was like, he's a good athlete, but he doesn't want to show it because he wants to be a pocket passer. And he has no chance to even try to be that right now. So now he just has to be a ball player. But that's not what you want to be. You don't want that from your A-tier quarterback or your starting quarterback. It's just a tough place to live, and they have to live in it the rest of the year. I mean, because there's no reinforcements coming. This is the hand you were dealt, and now you got to find a winning hand somehow.